Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over everything that went down in my third quarter of veterinary technician school. Let's jump in.
Pause. If you have not watched wrap-ups 1 and 2, I suggest you watch those first and then come back to this video.
Okay, I actually have notes and bullet points this time to make sure I'm not forgetting any main things that I wanted to chat about. The first class I'm going to be talking about is Anatomy and Physiology 2, which is basically large animal anatomy and physiology. If you've been here or you've watched the other videos, I had Anatomy and Physiology 1, which was small animal. This is large animal. Is that a plane? Hold on. Main things that we went over in this class are coat colorings and markings and how to identify large animals based on that. So like piebalds, dun, Appaloosa, what they all look like, how to differentiate. We went over different types of bones as well as different fracture types, how to actually heal a fracture from beginning to end and what goes on in the body. We went over lactation, we went over reproduction, we went over pregnancy, parturition, short day breeders, long day breeders, if they are seasonally polyestrous, if they only breed once a year, stuff like that. We really deep dived into that. All that from a large animal standpoint. Another giant topic for this class was equine limbs. If you are going into vet tech school and you already have an interest in large animals, I would recommend really deep diving on the horse. It will give you a substantial leg up, no pun intended, if you know the parts of the equine limb. Horse and cow are like the poster child of the hindgut fermenter and of the ruminant. So if you're familiar with those two species and kind of what's going on in their digestive system and their bone structure, then you will be years ahead, or at least a quarter ahead for sure. Number two. What's number two? Clinical laboratory science. This one was a lot of labs, okay? This one was a lot of microscopes. Really quick, I just want to say my program does a really good job at having multiple classes throughout the same quarter interact with each other. So if we're learning about like the estrus cycle in large animals in anatomy and physiology, then during that same week, we are learning about what happens on different stages of estrus on a microscopic and cellular level inside that animal. So it kind of reiterates and helps your brain like understand through repetition and different perspectives what is actually happening as a whole. So again, we went over hematology, cytology, urinalysis, chemistries, what the cells look like at different stages of estrus, and we also went over necropsy basics. Necropsy? Is it necropsy or necropsy? Somebody put in the comments how you pronounce it correctly. Okay, class number 3 was SAM, or Small Animal Medicine. In this class, we went over the diagnostic method. We went over DAMIT. We went over behavior development, FAS scoring, isolation care, and basically the main or more common diseases of each body system. Pancreatic diseases, respiratory diseases, understanding that if an animal is having trouble inspirating, then it's probably an upper respiratory system issue, or if they're having trouble expirating, then it is a lower respiratory issue. Things like that, things to look for. It was a lot of diseases, lots of learning different diseases. Number 4 was surgical nursing. This was both my favorite and my least favorite class of the quarter. We learned all about basic surgical tools, how to use them, when to use them, what they're called, how to present them to the surgeon, how to sterilize them, how to maintain them, everything about tools. Think basic surgical tools, understand everything about them, okay? That's what this class is. And also, we learned about what your role as a veterinary technician can be in regards to surgery. And so you could be a scrubbed in tech, you could be a circulating tech. You could set up the surgery suite, you could take down and clean and sterilize the surgery suite, you could be in charge of tools, you could be in charge of post-op, you could be in charge of discharge, you're in charge of meds. Basically all the different roles that you can have regarding surgery and how to effectively complete those roles. These were probably my two favorite things about this class, which was bandaging and suturing. So we learned how to bandage different parts of the animal depending on where there is a break or a lesion or what type of bandage that they need. And we also learned extremely basic suturing skills, which was very fun because I don't know how to sew or anything. So this is as close as I got. Number 5 is mentorship. I was placed in another emergency center for this quarter. And the fun thing about this one is it was actually an evening shift. So I went in at 4 p.m. and I got out at 10 p.m. I really enjoyed having an evening shift with the understanding that a lot of emergency technicians are working evenings or overnights and weekends, and their schedule is most commonly a little bit different than a regular small animal practice. And so I really enjoyed that I got to, I mean, it was nothing crazy. It wasn't an overnight, but it was an evening shift and that was new. So I was interested to see how my brain would function at 9 p.m. doing this type of work. And I actually really enjoyed it. I also am continuing to grow my love for emergency surgery, emergency surgery? No, just emergency in general. Just emergency in general. I am very surprised about how much I like it and am continuing to like it and want to do more of it. So I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, it was very fun. Some takeaways. Oh, I got to place my first IV catheter, which was crazy. Obviously I had a lot of help and somebody was right there with me, but it's definitely another step up on my skill level. I also got to do a cystocentesis. So we're really moving up, guys. We're learning these skills and we're putting them into practice, and it's not so scary. I dare say that I am doing it. Something really cool about the mentorship that I was placed in this quarter is that they work really closely with my school. And so my mentor at this emergency center actually has a role in my school and used to be one of the lead technicians that would teach the cohorts before me. And so they were extremely knowledgeable. They knew exactly what I was doing in school every week. And the best part is that I didn't have to take any videos. So if you are in a in-person or an online vet tech program, you need to take videos of yourself completing your essential skills. And for those of you that don't know or haven't started school yet, you have I think it's around 170 or 140 essential skills that need to be marked off. And the way that you need to do them is very, very specific according to the AVMA standard. And so it is obviously how we're learning to do things in school, but you'll get a binder or a notebook or a PDF or something that entails every single skill and how the AVMA wants you to complete that skill on video. And then you turn it in either to your school or I'm assuming to your school. I turn it into my school. So I did not have to actually do the videos because this clinic site is so connected to my school that my mentor counts as one of my instructors and was able to just physically watch me complete skills in front of them and mark it off. So honestly, that was a slay. That was a win, and that saved me a lot of time this quarter. Do we just go full hair or do we put some of it back? You know what I mean? Okay, so that was my classes, and now I just want to move into some random things. So I want to go over how my week was structured throughout this quarter. Obviously, I don't know when you're going to, but this is just how mine is. So I just want to give like people a realistic perspective on what my program does, and I'm assuming that it is relatively similar to a program that they would get into. On Monday, we had 4 lectures. So we went into school at 9 and then we left around 3:30. Every hour, every 2 hours, we just did the lecture of another class. We had lectures on Monday, and then Tuesday we had a lab, and our lab was split. Like, it split our class in half. So either you had a morning lab or an evening lab. Okay. And then Wednesdays, you either did clinic at your school or you did clinic at an off-campus clinic. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you either like went to your, like, my school has their own clinic that you need to do at least once a quarter, or you go off to your assigned clinic that week. Am I making sense? I hope so. So that was Tuesday. No, that was Wednesday. And then Thursday we had another lab where you were in the morning or the evening again. And then Friday you were at the school clinic or at your external clinic. And you just rinsed and repeated until the last 3 weeks of school. In the past, our finals have been all the last week of school, or maybe like the last week and a half, where it was like final study session, final review session, final review session, and then I was like done. But this quarter, they spaced our finals out for 3 weeks. There were pros and cons about how our weeks were structured throughout the quarter and how our finals were structured. In the thick of it, people were either loving this or extremely stressed about it. So that can switch up in between quarters, apparently. I'm learning every time. I'm learning new things every time. I also want to update you on my study tactics. Oh my gosh, I just realized how close to the camera I've been getting. I've been like slowly getting so close. I do this every time. Okay, I really need to back up. I'm literally on the edge of my seat. Huge announcement. I am no longer printing off and completing my objective logs by hand. I know. It's crazy. Like, this, who even is she? But now I am putting everything into a Google document. Basically what I'm doing now is making a big vet tech school book. And so every section of the book is a quarter, and every chapter within that section is a class. I'm formatting it a lot more like bullet points and quick notes, so that even if I'm not in school or I'm like actually working at a clinic, if I have a question about something specific, I can just type in that keyword and it'll take me to the section of my Google document that I have notes on. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I'm building myself a cheat sheet to have and take with me after school. And I'm actually really excited about it. I feel like this is gonna be life-changing long-term. Again, it is still really time-consuming and kind of extra to do during school, but I really feel like this is gonna help me with like recalling all of the things that I learned years from now. Also, me and one of my friends from the actual cohort have started doing a study day, or like a study review day, the day before every final as well. And so since we both structure our note-taking kind of similar, I would say it's still very different. She's much more thorough than I am. And so the day before every final, we hang out for like 5 or 6 hours and we just go through every single note that each of us have taken to make sure that the other person has the things that they think are important. We can just double check each other's work and do like a whole review right before our final. That's it. That's all I have for you today. You've done it. I've done it. We've done it. That is the end of quarter 3 review. that is also the end of my first year of vet tech school. Can you believe that? I'm halfway, guys. It's so happening. Woo! I will come back and start doing these videos again during my second year of vet tech school. Okay, see you then. Bye.